Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Huge news today. It appears as if DICE is actually listening and considering the feedback. There's been many new changes that have happened. First off, they've addressed weapon accuracy. I believe weapon accuracy was a bug as well. I think there was a bug on certain attachments that made the weapon spread even worse. That is either already fixed or in the works right now, and then they have addressed bloom or weapon spread, whatever you want to call it, as it's been a talking point from a lot of people. They've been complaining, especially because SMGs are just straight up better than long-range ARs, which is all kinds of bad. I mean, if you're like a LARP player, I mean, it's very immersion breaking, but it's nice to know that they are addressing these things. If you don't know, there is a Battlefield Comms Twitter account and a Battlefield Bulletin Twitter account, and they post things on there all the time. Battlefield Comms is the one that I would look at if you want genuine updates. Battlefield Comms has all sorts of updates that they're putting out, and I believe this is from DICE. DICE actually owns this Twitter account. This is not just someone else. They very recently, I think today, addressed the XP issues that some people have been occurring. I personally felt like it was a little slow, and others didn't. It's just a personal preference kind of thing. But they do need to appeal to the masses, and making XP quicker is going to appeal to the masses. It's not like if they made XP quicker, it's going to make people mad. It's probably not. So they increased XP. I'll put a post on screen for what they actually did. I believe it was a 10% increase at the end of the match, and then like a 40% increase. I'm not sure, but you'll see it on screen. And they also changed weapon levels. So the first 20 weapon levels are super easy to get, comparatively speaking. They're twice as fast, I think they said. And then after that, it'll taper off back to how it originally was. This will make it to where you get those important attachments much quicker than you did normally. I think this is a great change, and a very smart one. It doesn't just completely make it and trivialize the XP system, where you just get everything immediately, but it does make it to where you can actually have a usable firearm and get those accuracy attachments that you've been searching for to actually get something that's usable somewhat. I mean, some of these guns are abysmal without attachments. So I'm really happy they made this change, and I think it's overall a very positive one. More on the weapon spread, I want to make sure people realize that weapon spread is not necessarily required, but it's been in Battlefield since its like inception, since as long as I've been playing Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. It's been Battlefield Bad Company. It's been in all of these Battlefields. And that doesn't mean that it like should be in Battlefield, but I do think that it is an important part of Battlefield's identity and DNA. And I don't think we should fully remove weapon spread, nor will the developers ever do that. But I see a lot of people saying that it is anti-skill, and while I do agree with that, it's anti-skill with its current standing, where accuracy is ridiculous. After 20 meters, you can't hit shots. That is anti-skill. But when accuracy is working as intended, it's not anti-skill, and it's just trying to keep players in certain engagements with their weapon. SMGs at close range, ARs at mid-range, DMRs at longer range, and snipers at the farthest of ranges. Okay, moving on to some movement changes that they have discussed. They have not actually told us what they plan on doing, but they have mentioned that they're looking into the movement, and I believe they're looking into movement penalties, which is the most important in my opinion. Although the movement is the slowest it's been in years, I mean, I believe the sprint speed is the slowest it's been in any of the Battlefield games, actually, at least in the last 10 years. It's slower than Battlefield 1. Yeah, the sprint speed is slower than all of those games. It's slower than Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, and the movement mechanics are much more punishing and harsh than Battlefield 3 and 4, which I like to think back to. I think a lot of people don't really understand what Battlefield movement used to be because they were never really good at it. But Battlefield always had this hop, skippy, jumpy movement that required a lot of skill. I do have a video coming soon discussing skill gap and why it is important in video games and Battlefield in particular. More on that later. But anyways, I do believe some changes to the movement penalties will put this game in a really, really good spot. But they haven't told us exactly what they're changing. I believe they mentioned movement penalties. I will put that on screen as well, of course, while I'm discussing this. They also nerfed snipers. They nerfed not the recon class or anything we wanted. They nerfed the bullet velocity, which is an interesting change. I didn't really see a lot of people complaining about that. Not sure why they did it, but they nerfed the bullet velocities on both of the snipers in the game. Well, 2 of the snipers. I believe there's 3. Yeah, they nerfed those. And not sure why they did that, but that's fine, I guess. I don't think it's a big deal. I just wish they would have addressed things like the sweet spot mechanic, which is just anti-skill and stupid. Accuracy issues. There's accuracy penalties when you're not using the recon class. If you play as assault and use a sniper, this is not told to you, but you get decreased accuracy. And you also cannot hold your breath. Really weird. Not sure why, but I hope they fix those things, as well as get rid of the sweet spot mechanic and maybe consider introducing a greater scope flinch when you're ADS'd on the sniper. I think that you can just eat their bullets and shoot them in the head. And just go trade. Just trade damage out and kill them. I think that's a little bit too easy. The recon class feels a little bit too easy and oppressive to use, in my opinion. But anyways, moving on. They, for some reason, lowered the tickets in Conquest. I'm not really sure why they did that. They decreased the ticket count for all the Conquest maps, and then they reverted it because everyone hated the change. So big ups to them. They reverted it like the next day because clearly nobody wanted that change. And that looks like that's it. I mean, I don't want to say that's it as in, you know, this is all we got. Now, granted, there are plenty of things, but they did address Bloom. They're fixing spread. I don't know if they addressed visibility or not, but visibility's a little chalked. And I hope they do fix that. There are many various things, like the server stability that a lot of people have been complaining about, me included. I think dying behind walls happens all the time when I'm playing, and I think it's very, very frustrating. I have an excellent internet connection. I don't know why I'm being punished. It feels really, really bad. I've never played a game that felt worse when it comes to dying behind cover, genuinely. It feels like someone's using a lag switch. I could go on and on about things that need to change or things that people want in the game or all sorts of bugs and glitches that are still in the game, but I think it's very important to realize they are listening. They're listening, they are fixing bugs, and damn does that feel good. It feels good to be heard. It feels good that I can express an opinion, and it is considered. You know, being a fan of Battlefield and Call of Duty in the past, that's just not a feeling I've really gotten from Call of Duty or Battlefield anytime recently. Now that they started doing, ever since they teased Battlefield 6 and started their beta program, I forget what it was called, Battlefield Labs, that's what it is. Ever since they released that, I was always just in awe the level of communication at the transparency that was taking place. It felt awesome, and I think that is a huge improvement over the years for DICE and EA as a whole. I am a little scared about what may happen for the future with the EA being acquired by some, I think it's a Saudi Arabian group. And then Microsoft, you know, as soon as they took over Call of Duty, that was terrible. So I'm just kind of scared with the EA thing, but we'll see. I have high hopes again, but I wanted to make this video to discuss the changes and honestly just to mention, like, this is awesome. I'm really glad they're listening to us. Keep the feedback coming, seriously. If you have a problem, complain about it. If there's something you love, yell at the hills. You know, yell at the top of a hill. I love this change. This is awesome. Give them the feedback because they are clearly listening. And as always, have a wonderful rest of your day.